Well, get ready for another round of freezing fog tonight. Some of this fog already settling over parts of Central Oregon. Hey everyone, good evening and happy Friday. I'm Darrell Winninger, meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News, and across the high desert today was chilly for many of us, just not quite everybody. And it was a split forecast almost. For some parts of the high desert where we had some freezing fog that lifted up, it dissipated, we got our clearing, and temperatures started to warm up. Most of the high desert, however, that cloud cover or that fog started to lift up and it became cloud cover, a dense deck of overcast conditions that kept us pretty chilly because of a temperature inversion. However, if you were up at Bachelor or Hoodoo, you had views like you see on the left side of the screen at this moment. It is gorgeous. Meanwhile, Lake Billy Chinook and Bend, the Oregon Hazards Lab camera, both show that fog continuing to settle in, as well as at Prineville Reservoir. Meanwhile, the Pine Mountain camera, also an Oregon Hazards Lab camera, shows that deck of clouds below the camera. And actually, there are a couple other cameras that show this. So if we look at a different Bachelor camera, this is the one that is near the top of Outback. Okay, it's looking over towards Bend, and Tumalo Mountain is right there. So if this panned a little bit further to the left, you'd see the Pine Martin Lodge, and then a little bit further, you'd actually see where the top of the Outback lift line is. Now, when you look past Tumalo Mountain, you can see that huge deck of clouds from all the way on the right side going north, all the way over Bend, and even further to the north. And that's all below where this camera is. That's why it looks like it's not overhead, and overhead you actually see tons of sunshine. Where we got that sunshine, that's where we warmed up today. Meanwhile, going forward through the night, we're expecting more of this to settle in, and we'll take a look at some road cameras here in just a little bit. But through the day, we had a lot of this stubborn overcast conditions that's starting to descend, and we were just looking at satellite imagery that shows that low-level cloud cover. Now, this is a different product. This one is actually using sensors throughout Central Oregon, and it shows what visibility is. And there's good parts of the high desert where we're going between Redmond almost down to 61st Street, so almost getting down into Bend. From Redmond up to Madras and Prineville, there's less than or only a quarter-mile visibility, and some areas of dense fog are expected. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a dense fog advisory or at least a freezing fog advisory issued, but as of right now, we don't have one just yet. So right now, already just before 5 o'clock, low visibility for a good chunk of the Tri-County area, and for many of us, we have relative humidity values that are above 90 to 93%. And just so we are all on the same page, when you have 100% humidity, the column is fully saturated. Or at least where that sensor is, the air is fully saturated, and that's where we have a cloud. Now, clouds start to form at about 85 to 90%. So where we're getting into the 90s, that's where fog is starting to form, or could be starting to form as well. So when we go ahead and just look at cameras across Central Oregon, we actually see that for many of them, there is fog already developing. So in Bend, this is at Cooley Road, low visibility. Madras looks like reduced visibility. Sisters, you could really see it off in the distance back there, reduced visibility. Lava Butte, not too bad, a little higher in elevation. They actually had more sunshine today along with Lapine. And in Prineville, it looks like off in the distance, there is a little bit of reduced visibility up there. So it's something we're continuing to track, and it's going to be the main thing that drives our weather pattern through the next couple of days will be this fog. Because just like today, by tomorrow, where this fog lifts up and dissipates, we get back to sunshine, especially during the afternoon. That's where temperatures are going to be warmer. Where this fog lifts up and doesn't dissipate, just like I was talking about last night, we're actually expecting that to just be a chilly day. So all the way through the passes, we have actual sunshine. It actually looks pretty gorgeous up there. Now, through the day, the last 24 hours, there was no precipitation at all. And as of 2 p.m., we actually lost an inch in a couple spots. So at 30 inches at Bachelor, at 20 inches for a snow depth at Hoodoo, and not much improvement is expected. Some areas of fog again tonight, but higher elevations, mostly just looking at sunshine. Bluebird conditions at times through the day tomorrow, and still looking at areas of heavy cloud cover in our lower elevations tomorrow as well. And so as we go forward, We are expecting this to really begin to impact us even more tonight. And just a couple other cameras, the Hinkle Butte whited out because of fog. Klein Butte's camera whited out because of fog. Powell Butte, we can actually see where the top of that fog is. It's at a weird angle right now. Can't see too much from it. The Pine Mountain Observatory, looking out, you could actually see where that fog is on the ground. And so this is a lot of the conditions that we're expecting to continue into tonight. And we do have an air stagnation advisory, and just now a freezing fog advisory has been issued. This is brand new, and I'm just going to click around here. We're going to do some stuff where we're actually looking at what's going on, analyzing this, and it looks like this is going to be in place through the overnight hours until noon on Saturday. And so this is just extended from a freezing fog advisory that was further to our north over Wasco County. That just got pulled even further to the south. And earlier I was mentioning that I would not be surprised if that happened. It actually happened right here as we were actually switching to the graphic. That's pretty cool. Outside of that, we do have an air stagnation advisory for much of the state, and even an air quality alert just for Deschutes County. And that air quality alert, the air stagnation advisory, means similar things. Number one, due to high pressure, the atmosphere is experiencing some subsidence. That subsidence is pushing the atmosphere down, including all of the pollutants and smoke particulates from pile burns, from wood stoves across Central Oregon. And we're looking at times of poor air quality. So as of right now, we just have good to moderate air quality. In Sisters, the hourly average is yellow, so moderate. And throughout Central Oregon, we have a lot of these dots here. Those dots are all actual sensors from eSpace, and it's pretty much just showing good to moderate. When we look at a different monitoring network, this is Purple Air. A lot of you actually have these sensors. A couple of them are showing red or unhealthy. The rest of them, good to moderate, some unhealthy for sensitive groups. Now, we do already have some of this fog continuing to settle into Central Oregon. A freezing fog advisory has been issued for much of the high desert, including parts of Jefferson, Crook, and Deschutes County. There is no precipitation in sight. So when we switch gears and look at the enhanced satellite imagery, we're looking at two different things. First, some mid to upper level light clouds pushing through, but everything that you see that's that pale blue that doesn't really move too far, that's where we already had the low level cloud cover. That's where we have this fog setting up. And this is all coming in from the east and the northeast. It's not as pronounced for me to say that it's a backdoor cold front, but that is the direction it'd be coming in. What we actually have is just a little bit more moisture moving in lieu of high pressure that's building out over the Pacific Ocean. So it was centered right over the coastline and over the Pacific Northwest. The high pressure is moving back out over the Pacific, and we're catching a little bit of moisture. This moisture is producing more clouds and fog, and it's not bringing any precipitation in sight. So through the overnight hours, fog spreads out, becomes dense for many of us. There is a freezing fog advisory, meaning some slick roads are expected. The potential for some freezing drizzle, not out of the question. And it stays with us through tonight into tomorrow. By tomorrow during the midday hours, some of it lifts up and dissipates, some of it does not. Where it does not, it's going to be cold again. And then this pattern continues through Sunday and even on Monday. So when we go ahead and just look at the bigger picture, what we're actually seeing here through the next couple of days is that our conditions are going to be shifting across the high desert. Now, currently temperatures are topped out today in the 30s with a few 40s. Some of those are holdovers from yesterday, so we're going to go ahead and move forward. Looking at the actual temperatures right now, we're ranging from below freezing to 44 degrees, 26 to 44. It's a broad range of temperatures across the high desert, and we're running between 5 and 18 degrees cooler than just 24 hours ago. Through tonight, it gets cold again. We have this freezing fog set up. By tomorrow, I think it's going to be much like today. We're not going to see it too much clearing, and it's just going to be a chilly day across Central Oregon. Where we clear out, it's going to be warmer though. And through the day, we're looking at highs in the 30s with a few 40s. This freezing fog happens again Saturday night going into Sunday. That lifts up, becomes clouds. Some clearing is expected. Now, it will be chilly, but where we get that additional sunshine, temperatures pick up a little bit more. By Monday, fog less of an issue at this time. So your weekend planner shows we're going from 30s today to 30s tomorrow to 40s by Sunday when we're actually catching a little bit of clearing by the afternoon. Then that warming trend continues through Tuesday, bringing us all the way up to 55 degrees. Now, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, we're back above average for this time of the year, and there's just no precipitation in sight anywhere for anybody. In fact, all the way through Monday, we are bone dry. all the way through extended forecast models, we are bone dry. Here's what I'm talking about. This is the forecast model I typically use on air. And the biggest change up we're looking at is when and where fog dissipates tomorrow and Sunday. And high pressure just stays in place. This high pressure keeps us from actually getting too much in the way of any instability. So we're not looking at any systems actually developing. And by Monday, we still have sunshine. By Tuesday, we're actually looking at some increasing clouds, but nothing major is going to be happening. So just one more forecast model. This is the GFS, the long range, less high resolution, lower resolution. And it actually shows that through the next couple of nights, we get that potential of fog, but there's just nothing else happening across the entire Pacific Northwest until Tuesday. Increasing clouds. By Wednesday, in and out clouds. By Thursday, some clouds, but no precipitation at all. There's a low chance on Friday, but the last couple of times anything's hinted at something like this, it hasn't really panned out. So between now and 5 p.m. Thursday, dry. Going past that, still dry. Meanwhile, winds are at a light breeze at this moment, and the next couple of days we pretty much stay there. Now it will become gentle, even calm at times, but we're not looking at winds becoming breezy. For tonight, areas of freezing fog expected. Again, there is now a freezing fog advisory in effect for parts of central Oregon. By Saturday, we are looking at 30s with some 40s where we actually get some clearing. By Sunday, 40s with some 30s left on the map. Then a little bit of a warm up, bringing us back into the 50s, back above average for this time of the year. But with no precipitation in sight, we are staying dry. The snowpack at elevation continues to melt little by little each day, and we're actually looking at some melting during the day. And as soon as the sun sets, temperatures fall back below freezing. We get a little bit of a refreeze out there as well. So if you're doing any night skiing at Hoodoo or catching some early slopes at either one of the mountains, keep that in mind. That is the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News with the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.